All right, welcome everybody. My name is Andrew Manchero. I'm the founder and CEO of Digital World Connections, and we are a digital marketing firm that helps people in the real estate, insurance, and mortgage industries with marketing. And today I'm going to talk about a big topic that thousands of realtors have trouble with. I personally have trained over 15,000 agents, have taught over 400 classes to different brokerages, to different offices, to different individual agents, and we help several people with their marketing. And this is a big topic that I always talk about in my trainings, and that is, what is the real estate content strategy for realtors? Now, it's fair to say that nowadays we are in a day and age where most people are on their phones, okay? And whenever I teach my classes, I always make a very clear statement. That is, there is no real difference between getting referrals and getting leads online, because the only reason why you get referrals is because people know you, people like you, and people trust you, okay? And if you don't get that, you're not getting referrals. So if you're getting leads online and quality leads, there is a hint of like, know, and trust within the content that you see. So it is like social media is kind of a business card, because if you're giving people your contact information and they're seeing and they're checking out what you do, similar to in real life or when you're exchanging a business card, they remember you, you guys are getting in touch with each other. That like, know, and trust is created there. So it is somewhat considered like a business card, more like a virtual card. Okay. Now, social media platforms, of course, is a little bit more dynamic and engaging, because even if the person is not with you in real life, they're on a screen, so you can still see that personality. Okay. Now, here's the big problem that most agents are facing nowadays. Okay. They don't know what to post. They don't have the time to post. They don't have listings. So they make the excuse of, oh, I don't know what I should be posting. And they don't know what works. Okay. Now, the problem is most people try to find a solution to this by posting whenever they have the time or whenever they get motivated. And ultimately, that is not having a system. That is what you call having stress and just trying to see and just try to post honestly for this, for really the whole purpose of posting. You're just posting for the sake of it. That doesn't help, and that's why leads aren't happening. That's why there's no conversations, and then ultimately people believe marketing doesn't work. But ultimately, they just never had a system in place. Okay, so what we want to talk about today is how we're going to actually have a system. Okay, and basically there are three pieces of content marketing that we have to talk about. Now, one of the big things about content marketing I want you guys to know is it really goes into the process of defining your ideal client. Now, when I say this word ideal client, most people would typically say something like buyer in this area or seller in this city. That's part of the answer I'm looking for, but I need you to go deeper. I need you to start asking yourself, what are some common problems, fears, needs, pain points, obstacles, dreams, and desires that your clients may have when it comes to buying or selling real estate in X city in 2025 or whatever time period we're in that you're watching this. Okay. So there's three P's of content marketing. That's planning, production, and promotion. So as we dive into planning, again, there are three content buckets within that. So one of the whole buckets of content marketing that I was just talking about was this thing called problem solving content or value based content. Okay. Now, value is, again, you guys are the experts. People are either coming to you with a problem or they have a problem and they're waiting for someone to reach out to them, which are you guys. So you got to show them how you solve a problem. So you can say something like, one of the common problems my clients had in May was X, Y, and Z. Here's how I help them overcome that. Or a common need that people come to me for since, the springtime is A, B, and C. Here's how I fulfill that. Okay. So what you're stating is, again, a direct problem, a specific one, and your approach to solve that. Okay. It shows that you're not just in real estate and you're not just posting a bunch of houses like what everyone else does. It really shows that you know what the process is based on the pain that the client or the lead is facing. Okay. Again, some example video ideas for reels. Now, this is some different angles of value based content, neighborhood walkthroughs, market tips, buyer, seller, facts, answers, and questions, right? Before you sell your home, do this to avoid a low appraisal. Three things first-time buyers forget about closing costs. And to make this even more specific, what I would do is I would always include your location and time frame. So you could say, like, in June 2025, here are three things first-time home buyers need to know in Minnesota in terms of buying a home. And then you can kind of get into it that way. So it's, again, location specific and very, relevant and current to the time period. So you look a little bit different with the time and location. Okay. The second bucket is personal content. Again, at the end of the day, I don't talk to a house. I talk to someone like you guys, which is an agent trying to get me in or out of a house. So real estate is a very one-to-one interaction. So we have to put our focus on building a personal brand. And that is what this personal content bucket is about. Okay. Show the human behind the business. It makes you approachable. That's the big thing. It also gives you more engagement. Okay. I always tell agents that there's a hard truth that they need to hear is that most people don't care about your real estate content. Okay. Like everyone sees all these houses. You might get a few likes on it. But at the end of the day, when you post a picture of like yourself or with your friends or you going out or you have any hobbies, you promote that, that almost 99% of the time gets more engagement because again, it is you and it makes you approachable. So you have to include some level of personal content so you could have your accounts get pushed out to more people. Solely relying on houses is not going to get you the success you need. Okay. So again, some example video ideas, why I got into real estate, what kept me in it, celebrating wins, sharing struggles, behind the scenes, hobbies you like to do, side businesses you have, entertainment preferences, all that qualifies as personal content. Okay. I'd advise at least doing this twice a month, but if you want to focus on doing this 3 to 4 times a week, it's not going to hurt you at all. Okay. Our next content bucket is community. At the end of the day, you guys are in real estate and I'm one of your consumers and I could be one of your clients in the future. So I will have this expectation that you know everything about your city. And the reason why I and other people have this expectation for you guys is because you guys are in real estate. You guys should know everything about your community, right? Now, at the end of the day, I may believe you or I may not, okay? But what matters is the people around you need to believe this. So what you have to do is literally talk about your knowledge in the community, from promoting like events to restaurants to places to businesses in the area. I know this may sound fairly obvious, but you guys will be surprised. My team looks at thousands of accounts a month, and there are so many agents that are not doing this. So it's a big thing that you can really focus on, okay? Again, it proves that you're not in real estate, you're in the community. And some example ideas if you're looking at videos, local coffee shop, small business, schools, selective, based on compliance, okay? Community events, charity drives, school shout outs. Now, if you still have real questions or want more help making content ideas, I want you guys to learn how to start using AI. And yes, ChatGPT, which is this one. This one's a big one, and most people know about this one, okay? But there are other great marketing related AI tools that you could use. Claude, AI, Gemini, Perplexity. All of these tools are designated and geared towards for you to get better content and better writing for your marketing. Now, at the end of the day, people either use AI too much or they use it too little. And the way I want you guys to use it, I want you guys to use it in a way that works with you. So a lot of people use AI in a very generic way. They would say things like, make me a content calendar as a realtor for the month of June. See, that's not giving it any context. And AI is very user input and equally user output based. So what I mean by that is if you're vague with AI is vague to you. If you're specific with it, it is specific to you. So an example prompt you could do is something like, listen, I'm a realtor outside of New York City for the last 10 years. Recently, I had a goal of really wanting to become a community influencer in my area. What would you suggest are some community content topics that I could talk about in New York City in June of 2025 as an agent trying to make myself look like a community influencer? So again, specific question, it will give me specific answers. There are various tools just like these, and there's other tools out there, right? But I do really believe these four are definitely one of the most strongest, five, sorry, definitely one of the most strongest when it comes to marketing and AI, okay? Now, again, you have AI, you have the three buckets I gave you, but I want you guys to look at your competitors. A lot of people, there's a quote out there that says, never compare yourself to other people. I disagree with that. I think you should, because at the end of the day, you guys are in an industry where there are hundreds or thousands, or in some cities, tens of thousands of people that you are competing with. And if there's anything you could do to have more of an advantage over those people, is again, look at their content, okay? They are trying different lead gen programs, different social media content ideas, different strategies. And what I want you to do is instead of wasting your time trying the very same thing they're trying, look at what they did at what worked and just take those and do that for your content. So recency here is a very big thing. You don't want to try, you don't necessarily, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but like if you found a content topic that worked 10 years ago, there's no guarantee it's going to work now. Okay. So what I advise is always trying to find content that has performed well, typically within the first 1 day to like 28 or so days. So like within the first 1 day to like 4 weeks, roughly. Okay. What are some visual cues to understand what is getting, engagement, what is working? View count is huge. Okay. And you could even filter like counts, video categories, date posted, all within TikTok as well. So you can get a lot more, of a filtered search rather than trying to search it manually, and it will help you save a few minutes. Okay. Besides views, shares are important, comments are important, and likes are also important. I like to categorize likes as the fourth. My prioritization of these metrics are primarily the first top three are going to be shares, views, and comments. Okay. That really shows that people really got value out of it, especially with the shares and comments part. If someone's taking time to comment out of your video, that means they got something out of it because they really watched it. If someone wants to share it to someone else, again, they want someone else to see it, which is more of like that online referral mindset marketing you should have. And we'll get into that in another video. And then likes is great. There are lots of people that I personally know that just double tap on everything. So there's no guarantee they got value from it. However, the more engagement with likes, the more your video will be pushed out anyway. So it's still a good metric to track. Okay. So here's just an example of a posting calendar that I recommend. Now, again, this could be edited, it could be multiplied, just like a basic example for you guys out there that are just beginning into this. Monday, do a piece of value content. Tuesday, you could do a story poll. Poll is basically a voting. Okay. So it's like a screen that has a question with some options in there. So you can really create some interest amongst whatever you're asking in your question. You can do a story with value. You can do a new listing or a sold listing. Wednesday, let's push out a community content piece, something in your area or in your target cities. Thursday, responding to comments, adding to story highlights, researching content, doing a new listing, doing another property content. Okay. And then Friday, a personal piece of content. Okay. Use your weekends to plan and film content. This is huge. A lot of agents don't want to sit and spend time on the weekend to get ahead. Because here's the thing, I know most of you guys don't want to do this. Okay. But here's the thing, you have to do it. Okay. Now, if I were to give you a suggestion, your final goal with marketing is to spend the least amount of time with it, but in the time that you spend it has to be the most valuable amount of time. Okay. Most of your guys' time should be going out there, doing open houses, doing all the real estate stuff, but you have to do this as well. So learn how to start planning ahead so you can spend the least amount of time on it while doing other things that will still help grow the business. Okay. Stories could be posted daily, but again, frequency is great. The more frequent you are, the better it is for you and your account. 2 to 3 weeks really does keep you top of mind. It makes you look human. It builds trust through daily visibility. It builds trust through repetition, reinforces the local expertise. Again, always helps with reach. Doesn't take a lot of effort to do. A photo with a quick edit and using the filters on Instagram is quick enough to get a story going. And it really showcases your day without producing too much. Okay. To really plan posts and videos, it does take almost a lot more time than stories. So it's great to, hit the frequency even like 5-6 times a week. It doesn't hurt at all. Some examples of story content. Again, you can mix personal with this. Where you got your coffee today? A random tip or idea that popped into your head. The moment you get the idea, you go post a story about it. A client conversation you had, right? Maybe talking about something that you learned from that, something funny or relatable from your day, a neighborhood you're driving through, your take on a trending real estate topic. Okay. A book, podcast, or app that you like, what you're working on now, snippets of personal life, whether you're cooking or you're outside working out, doing some fitness, and also some rants. Okay. If there's anything you notice within the industry or what people are saying or their opinions, doing some content on that will definitely create more engagement. We'll talk about like different like negative hooks, positive and controversial hooks in other videos, but these are small ideas and quick things that I could even do right now in front of you guys, and I can get content out there quickly just through stories. Okay. Now, again, just more of a evidence-based approach on why stories can contribute to broader reach, more engagement, more visibility, feed engagement. People typically might be looking into your feed after they see a story. Maybe you tagged your post on your story, and now they want to go check your Instagram account to see where the post is, right? And learn more about it. Interactive elements like polls and word of mouth, right? This can be pretty common because people could just share stories on the platforms, like they can share posts. So you get that word of mouth promotion as well. Okay. Again, stories don't necessarily have to be like super edited and super professional per se. It's just right. It's a snapshot of reality. Okay. Whatever the reality looks like, as long as it's appropriate, that's what counts. All right. Besides that, you have videos, short form content, right? Videos that are 5 to basically 90 seconds long. I think nowadays our biggest time involved in videos, like the typical duration, is usually laying around 15 to 45 seconds. Okay. The easiest one is doing it from your phone. Nowadays, our phones have pretty reliable, pretty trustworthy worth cameras. Okay. So you could film from home. You could do it behind, in your car. It's good weather coming up here in New York, so I can go outside and take a lot of content. Okay. You can do it at your office. A mix of settings was definitely great, so it gives you some variety on your feed. Again, important lighting. I'm recording this video and I'm diagonal because the light is at my face. If I'm standing over here, the light's not that strong. So again, face a window for natural light. Talk like you're texting a buyer or a seller. Keep it under 60 seconds. This one's important. Film 3 in one setting. I'm a big fan of batching content because, again, like I said earlier, you need to spend the least amount of time in this. So if you could prepare and plan ahead, then a week from now, you may not have to do any videos because you have that many laid out in your schedule. Okay. 10 to 20 minutes is what I ask you guys to put videos out. I know you guys all have that time. And just to give everyone a friendly reminder to those that say, I don't have the time, remember, it's not about the time we have, it's about the time we make. And you have to prioritize this. Okay. Some other versions of short form content that gets a little bit more specific on using the platform, the green screen, and you can do topics that are trending, more valuable related content, even community content. Okay. You could do a news article, a Zillow listing, an image of a restaurant, or a screenshot that you could find on Google or like that you took yourself. You could react to it with your face or voiceover. Okay. For any of you guys that are a little hesitant in getting your face out there, you can start using voiceovers and really start learning how to talk on the camera. And then you could transition at one point to using your face within the video itself. Okay. Film 35 in one sitting. Again, batching is important. 20 to 30 minutes for green screen content. Pretty quick, pretty right to the point. Then you have on-site videos. Okay, this is stuff that you do at a property. Quick walkthroughs of favorite feature clips. I love the favorite feature clips because you can get a lot of those in one house. So if there's like 8 cool features in a house, you can make 8 separate videos on 8 feature clips, and then you could post all those 8 and just kind of spread them out a little bit, right? So it doesn't look like you're showing the same house over and over again. So you get more videos within one property. You could talk to a camera in front of a house. Well, here's why this one's underrated, overrated, right? I mean, there could be variations with that. You could do a voiceover walkthrough. Again, voiceovers are great if you want to just start getting into the whole video space of marketing. Highlight design features. Again, that kind of goes into the feature clips. Ask a question to the viewer. What would you take this layout over a backyard? Do you prefer this kitchen? Do you prefer this bathroom? That's a little bit of a different and better variation than doing the boring static post where people say this or that. I'd rather prefer a video of a realtor asking live, would you rather take this layout of a backyard or maybe another house that they showed? Okay. And then again, behind the scenes content we all like, just like how we like to watch behind the scenes of production for Hollywood. Similar to that, you could do behind the scenes of you preparing for an open house or staging, for example, as another content idea on site. Okay. And it's highly suggested to do on-site videos to show off new and sold listings. Again, if it's yours, you should really take care of your listings and you should really promote the hell out of it. Okay. So I would really recommend, if you guys have plenty of these, you can get at least, 8 to 10, 15, 20 videos using just the categories I've given you, the favorite feature clip, talking in front of the house, doing a voiceover walkthrough. You could do several variations of each of those and get lots of videos. Okay. And promotion. Posting is cool, but that's not the only thing in social media. It's got to go somewhere, okay? Because you're not posting just for the sake of posting. You're posting in the hopes of getting conversations to make more money, okay? It's not just a branding hobby, okay? A lot of people forget that. That's why in my class, I always ask the first question, what is the purpose of doing marketing? And it's to make more money. It's not for exposure. It's not for branding. Those are all side effects. Make money is the goal, okay? It's not about being pushy. And I want to make this clear also. Sometimes a lot of people say that posting too much is a bad thing. I disagree with that because you guys are in a day and age where there's nobody following one person on Instagram. If they see you like a little bit more than usual, I think people have this assumption that people might get annoyed. They might have some people that might get annoyed, but I will tell you, you guys are in a saturated industry. And if there's anything you can do to be remembered the most, it's being creative and being out there the most. If you look at the biggest companies like Apple and Google, these guys are in front of our face hundreds of times a week. And do we ever complain that they're too much in our face anymore? Not anymore. So it kind of grows on people at some point. And even if they are annoyed by you, if they see something real estate related, it's still a good chance that you might pop in their head. And that's what we want, that brand recall. Okay. Some examples of call to actions at the end of the videos to start getting conversations. DM me for the buyer checklist. Do you want a list of homes under 500,000 in Jersey or in Union, Jersey, for example? What would you do in this situation? Drop it below. Free seller prep guide, link in bio. Comment call to action, drop the word list, and I'll DM you the template. Again, these are leading towards some conversation because if somebody responds to this, it gives you some insight on, oh, they might be planning to buy or sell in the future, and then you put them in your sales process. Okay. Promoting community content. If you post about a local restaurant, cafe, or shop, you got to tag them in both your post and your story because, again, restaurants, they also want to do better marketing. They want more customers. So it's a chance that they might reshare it to their audience, which might have 100, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 followers. So you're just opening the doors for yourself to get more reach. Okay. If you're tagging local businesses in your areas, these tags have to be added manually. Again, my goal is to teach you guys how to do the most by doing the least, but some things have to be done manually. Okay. So you usually do this by hitting the @ sign on your phone and then tagging the account name to your post. And then you'll actually be able to get the tag on your post so that they could see it as well, the restaurant or whoever you're promoting. Okay. Remember, at the end of the day, you guys are a realtor using social media to get more eyes on this, which makes you generate more business. Again, exposure is not the goal. Business, leads, and cash is the goal using social media. Okay. So again, at the end of the day, remember, batching content is great. It's not about the time we have, it's about the time we make. And you guys as agents have a huge advantage because you have all these properties, you have all these community content. So if you really plan and prepare ahead, if you prepare 20, 30 pieces of content in 30 days and you do all of it in one day, you have 29 days of not doing anything, but more marketing tips that I will give you in the future. But the fact is that you've batched it and now you can spend more time in real estate and actually have a structure towards your marketing and know that, hey, I'm actually creating myself a schedule where I'm growing and not just guessing and hoping that, hey, I'm actually going to get a few leads. Okay. I hope this video helps, guys. And if you guys feel that, I can give you guys some suggestions because a lot of times people say this is a little bit of an information overload. Feel free to look at the link in the description. There's a Calendly link there where I'd be happy to give you guys some suggestions of what you can do so this video doesn't really sound like an information overload. Okay, take care, guys.